I am not a drama channel. I do not do this very often. Haven't done this ever. But recently there's been some you know, hate thrown all around regarding one of Gerg's jokes that he made in one of his videos. And I do plan to address that in this video. So basically, what the whole controversy was, so it was basically so we're gonna be playing Air Ride today. I don't know why my controller is doing that. Hold on. You know what? Never mind. My controller stopped working. That was a dumb idea anyway. I'm gonna show you what I've been working on. We're still in this cave, but I do have something really cool to show off in these mines. So I was mining, right? And I came across a mob spawner directly, like perfectly aligned in the path of my mine. That's so cool. It's like even as well. It's like perfectly even. If I had things coming out here, it would also be perfectly even. So this was like the theoretical perfect mob spawner. Ideally it would have been skeleton, but you know, this is fine. I already mined out all the moss stone and I blocked the walls to make it nicer. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Now you'll notice I put all these torches on the backside of these I guess struts or supports. Now the reason I did that is because you know, it's a way to not get lost. All you need to do is follow the torches no matter where you are. They will lead you back to the very beginning. So I'm walking back and I know that I don't go down this way because there's not a torch there. Now I guess you could do the opposite, you know, like every torch should be facing the direction of the entrance. But I don't know, I like walking down and not seeing any like torches. I think it's just nicer to look at. And plus follow the torches is a little neat. I think it's kind of cool. But yeah, a little tiny mining session. Something I love, I don't know what Y level I'm at, 37. Something I love about this Y level is that you don't get too much iron. So I do have to dig out these very large tunnels to even get like a decent sized quantity of iron. Like I mined through 3 pickaxes, almost 4, and a shovel. And I only had what, 3, 6, 9, 22 iron. You know, some people would look at that and be like, ew, what the heck, why are you mining so much? But I like the work. I like working for my iron, you know. Caving is fun. I love caving. And I do at every opportunity go cave. There was a cave connected to that mob spawner, but it was a small one, so I cleared it out pretty quickly. But I do love caving. Caving is my favorite thing to do in this game. But you know, it gives you so many resources so quickly. And part of this whole, this is the dungeon loot. Part of this whole idea for this town is to slowly grow, very slowly grow. And speaking of growth, I want to show you what I've done so far. Let me just clear all this out. There we go. So, I'm gonna quickly sleep and then show off all of the amazing things that I've been doing. Let me just get a little drink here. All right. So this is my campfire. I didn't want to go out of my way and get netherrack, so I just put a little torch here. Like this is good enough. I wanted to try to like differ the little seats, you know. Logs are cool, but they're so big. And while I do mostly dislike sideways facing logs, I think they're ugly in most builds. The only thing I would really use them for is like logs that are falling down so you can sit on. But I don't know, I like these tiny little seats anyway. I think they're fine. And then I have this is the storehouse. You know, it's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit bigger than this house over here, but it's mainly for storage and to craft like any materials to keep people warm. Like this leather tunic. I'm gonna craft pants when I get enough leather. That's the idea, you know. I want to keep myself warm. You know, it's very cold out here, very frigid. You can already see another building up here. Now, naturally, right? This is a place for miners, right? Cave divers, that is. Oh, look, flowing chicken. Nice. And, you know, they need somewhere to sleep. So I made this little house. It's very nice. I guess some bedrolls right here and some storage space. Now the reason these are 2 wide instead of 1 wide, and this is gonna tie into the history stuff that I want to do on Beta Lands, but that's mostly because at this time it was more cost effective to make larger beds, so that multiple people could sleep on them. You can see that a bit in like taverns and like common rooms and stuff like that. The real poor ones would you just kind of like sleep on the floor of the main room. You know, you would huddle up in a corner, use your cloak as a blanket, something like that. And the more prestigious ones, they would have like individual rooms for really prestigious guests, but you know, the common guests, they would get the big old room with a whole bunch of large beds. Sometimes you'd get these beds that could hold like 12 people at a time, so you wouldn't just be sleeping on your own for comfort. You would be in these larger beds. That's kind of what I wanted to emulate here, you know. Also, yeah, I guess there's the functionality aspect, like 2 people can sleep in this, but if you really think about it, maybe 3 people could squeeze in there. I don't know. Really just depends. Infinitely burning furnace. I wanted to do one of these and I was having trouble like facing it correctly, but then I watched Box Player's video on it and it all made sense. They're very cheap, very easy to make, and I love them. And then this place is mostly for gathering snow and stone, right? So where do we keep the snow? You know, Minecraft, you can just put it in chests. That's boring. That's right? I want to store it in a realistic way. How would people from medieval times store their snow or their ice, you know? So what they would actually do, and this isn't necessarily historically accurate, I just kind of just trust this idea. they would put it in these storage places. Sometimes they're in caves, sometimes they're in buildings, but they would insulate the walls and the floors, and that's why this building has 2 like deep walls. Probably wouldn't be as effective with stone. I put wool as the floor to kind of insulate it. Sometimes these would be, and most of the time they would be raised off of the ground, and have like sawdust put underneath or whatever. Just anything to keep the heat or the cold in place. Anything to insulate the building. I also have these iron doors. I don't know, I think they're just a nice touch. But yeah, here's a little place. There's my snow chest. I pistoned some ice up here from that little river down there. The little like pond. I don't know, it's like, oh, there was a pond here. I wanted to utilize it, so I did. Hey, Gerg. And then this is my snow cave. Everyone's got to have a snow cave nowadays, dude. They're like the top of the fashion, dude. Yeah, a lot of snow, a lot of cave. 2 torches, you know. The torch to snow ratio it's very important. You got to get that right. But yeah, that's that's basically it, dude. That's pretty much all I've been doing. I guess like a smithy I could make for smelting, you know, iron and making tools. The only thing that would be troublesome about that is that this is a very cold biome, and I don't know exactly how, you know, smithing works, but I assume that you want to do it in a warmer biome, or at least one that isn't like freezing cold to the point where there's like a 1/8 of a meter of snow on the ground at all times. So I'd probably put it back in this little town over here. It's on the border, right? But it's obviously not cold enough to maintain that snow. So it's a little bit warmer. I assume that you know, maybe in the summer months this snow kind of peels back and it only really remains on the tip top of the mountains up here. But I need these tools all year round, so that isn't really an effective use of space, of biome. But yeah, I'm almost done with that little snow area over there, and then I'll start working on the other town out here. Now for plans, I guess like a what's it called? A silk weaver or something. I don't know. Someone who maintains the cloth, someone who maybe dyes the cloth, a cloth weaver, I don't know. It's a small town, so you're not gonna have talk about black sheep, am I right? You're not gonna have like guilds here, because those are reserved for, oh my goodness, those were reserved for like the larger settlements, where I guess if they have enough influence and power, those guilds could probably maintain a hold over various distances, but that is not the case over here. I don't even have any guilds in this world. Maybe this could be the start of one, you know? This is where they started out and then they moved to somewhere else. But yeah, this is just a little town. I might get rid of this tower. It's completely useless, and honestly, I feel like I could do something a little bit better. Maybe like a little church, a shrine to pray. I don't have that. That could work, you know? People in medieval times, they were very religious. I guess some pastures or wheat fields out here so people can source their food, as well as like maybe a butcher from all these animals spawning. You know, just a bunch of different ideas I have all come together. Probably won't get to them in time for beta land, of course. That's coming up in a couple days. Videos won't start coming out till I believe July, but just know that we're gonna be on beta land in a couple days for the next time being. So next Minecraft video you see from me, I will be on beta land, and that's gonna be its own thing. I want to thank everyone for watching, and have a good one. Except for you, Gerg.